Who did we steal from? We stole from the Greeks. We stole from Aeschylus and Euripides and Sophocles. And we stole early and often and continuously. For those of you who want to argue why Omar had to die or why Stringer had to die, strap on a helmet, get in the game. Read Antigone, read Medea, read Oedipus Rex. It had to happen. I mean, and the reason that we went back to that tradition is much of Western drama is really dominated by Shakespeare and post-Shakespeare. Everything from Chekhov to O'Neill to Ibsen. All that good stuff. It's rooted in the individual's struggle against himself and his environment, and there is a presumption that starts to become apparent in Shakespeare's later plays. Not so, there is a certain sense of fate in some of his plays, but in the ones that everyone takes great note of as having in that sort of arrogant phrase of Harold Bloom, the plays that supposedly invented human personality. They didn't invent human, but they invented the characterization of it. Hamlet and Lear, and it is the individual struggling against himself or against his confines, and nothing is assured. It's in what he does in the drama that will determine the outcome. Nothing is foreordained entirely, and that's why, and that's the part that speaks to us as moderns. Because, listen, we have a hard time with religion. Most of us. I mean, if you're fundamentalist, you don't. You got a book and you follow it, and the rules are all written down for you. But if you're in the world and you're sort of thinking, you're thinking for yourself in terms of, well, what do I think and how's this working and where's, no book is the answer just because it says it's the answer. You're evaluating stuff. We have a hard time placing the idea of ourselves beneath fate itself, beneath God. We want to believe that we're in control of our lives. That if we eat the right things and cross at the crosswalk and don't find ourselves in the middle of a war zone, and if we do all the right things and are good to the right people and take care of ourselves, a place will be made for us. And that's sort of the modern way of being. And that's that great illusion of being in control, which as Americans we've, never mind the country's manifest destiny, we all believe we all have manifest destiny for ourselves. And this notion of the Greeks where, you're just walking down the street and some Olympian god hits you in the ass with a thunderbolt just because he doesn't like the way you look, or because it was your turn, or because, the Oracle of Delphi said that you were going to die in a certain way and for a certain reason, and it's all foreordained. That kind of, that the last people hang on to something like that were the Calvinists, and they didn't get very far with it. We rebel at that, but the truth is, I'm not sure that in this postmodern world of ours, that's not a more applicable political sentiment. So, we stole from the Greeks and we made the gods into institutions. That was the shtick, and I'll be honest. We could have gone 5 years and nobody would have figured that out. But I gave a bunch of interviews after first season or before second season to just so people would start writing about the subtext of the show, because otherwise it was going to be a cop show and they were just going to write about it as a cop show. Once you start throwing around names like Euripides, Euripides pants, you buy these pants. That's the Marx Brothers. The other thing that I have to sort of honor right now is we stole a great deal of material from what I regard as the most relevant and important political film of the last century, and I think it's going to be applicable in spades right through this one, which is a 1961 film by Stanley Kubrick called Paths of Glory. Has anyone seen Paths of Glory? Yeah. Paths of Glory, to me, is the only important political film. Maybe like 10 minutes of The Candidate with Robert Redford, and Paths of Glory. That's it. As long as you understand Paths of Glory, you understand politics anywhere on the face of the earth.